1939, one was talking then about the main topics was the war, and no matter how privileged or underprivileged or whatever your circumstances are or were, somehow until you move on or move out or do some things different, as you don't have anything to compare it with, you just think it's absolutely normal. One realizes in retrospect how different it must be for, like, same-age kids now. None of the men, the young men anyway, were around. They were all in the services. Right. And the older guys were in munitions or, you know, training for the Home Guard or something. And 14-year-olds, like I became at the time, and this friend of mine, Danny Fraser, we had horses, delivering milk, doing the men's jobs. I got into the Navy, and I was signed for 12 years, and I was out after 3 with ulcers. Academically, one was zilch, and so one kind of had to educate completely, and it was to get, and at the same time one went to bodybuilding. So I think one got a kind of combination of an education and something to do with the physical side as well.
Hey, have a drink. It's all over. Relax.
Give me a light.
What's worrying you? We're all sitting pretty.
How the hell can you be sitting pretty with a murder on your lap?
I've never seen you behave like that. What?
Clem killed the watchman.
Killed the watchman? But when we finished the job, he didn't say anything. He got into the car. He's made me an accessory. He didn't say a word.
Well, now you know.
He didn't say anything. He got into the car and didn't say...
Shut up.
Are you crazy? This is murder.
Shut up.
Oh, she is my dear, my darling one, her eyes so sparkling, full of fun. No other can match the likes of her. She is my dear, my darling one, my smiling and beguiling one. I love the ground she walks upon, my darling Irish girl.
I called you when your food was ready, but you were making so much noise you couldn't hear me.
Faith, I know I can't sing a lick, but when I'm roaring like Doran's bull, it works up a killing hunger in me. And what have we got here?
Bread newly baked, butter fresh from the churn, and boiled eggs and ham.
Well, now, aren't you the clever girl?
Underneath the mango tree, my honey and me.
Who's that?
It's all right. I'm not supposed to be here either. I take it you're not. Are you alone?
What are you doing here? Looking for shells?
No, I'm just looking.
I had read Live and Let Die, I think, was one of the first things. Ian Fleming wanted Cary Grant, and then he wanted Trevor Howard, you know. Well, their salaries would have taken care of the budget, you know, and they only had $1 million to make the movie.
So you got the part. Did you know you were going to get the part pretty early? Did you feel good about the interview or the audition?
No, I really had no idea how, and I know, in fact, I know where I was going the night. I only had a certain time to get there. I was on a parking meter, and I was going to an England-Poland game of soccer at Tottenham. So I was in and out like Flynn, as it were. And I didn't feel, to be honest, any great sort of aura of success about it. I just thought, well, you never can tell. I had a long history of lots of meetings for movies and television and what have you that never materialized.
What was your reaction? I mean, at what point did you realize that this was going to be huge?
One couldn't have foreseen it, certainly after the first, and then the second one was quite a bit later, From Russia with Love, and then that sort of, by the time From Russia with Love was getting underway, Dr. No had become a success because of America, but nothing like the eventual success it was to be. I think about the fourth, I think like Goldfinger and Thunderball were really kind of rocking, making money, you know, huge all over, not just in America. And in fact, it was one of the early starts of I think, bigger grosses worldwide than America. They used to work it out, it would be 50% domestic and 50% outside. Mm-hmm. And that was the real beginning. And I think it's more or less maintained that. Most of the movies that are really successful, after big success, they make more outside the United States than in the United States.
Only the second James Bond thriller could be more exciting than the first.
Who are you?
My name is Pussy Galore.
Must be dreaming.
If you don't mind, I'd like to go to bed. I've told you the light from the sitting room bothers me.
Well, we certainly can't have anything bothering you, can we?
Yeah.
Now, from what I've read, most people accepted Hitchcock roles without having read the script. Is that the case, and how was it different for you?
Well, because I was very curious as to what it was, because at the time of offering to me, Grace Kelly was supposed to be playing the other part. And, yes, and so I said, well, I would, certainly like to read it. Not unusual, I thought, because I would equally say, I don't think I'm right for it, or this is more American than I could ever be. Yes. And, but I liked it, and eventually I had a terrific time with him.
I think you got the point.
Achtung, Achtung. So, today it is madness. That's the subject on the the agenda. Madness, yeah. And have we got a madness for you? Hoo, hoo, hoo. Such a madness like you have never seen. We call it a fine madness. The subject's name is Sean Connery. He got it from Russia with, you know. Then they gave him the golden finger. After that, he had a ball. The thunder of applause, all that jazz. No wonder this cookie cracked.
Welcome, Honorable 007. He's the one and only Sean Connery.
Welcome to Japan, Mr. Bond.
The Bond thing, I can remember back, just from my own personal memory, back when you stopped doing the Bond films initially, in saying that you wanted to do other things, even though everybody wanted you to be James Bond forever, and you wanted to go out and establish yourself and get people thinking about you as Sean Connery. You finally did it. I mean, I don't think that people, when they look at you now, or they think when they hear your name, they don't automatically think of James Bond, they think of Sean Connery.
Yeah, well, there's
Do you
still
feel
a
like
lot
that's
of
happened?
It's like beauty, in the eye of the beholder. I mean, the people see it this way. There's really only so much you can do in terms of trying to change their view of something. And a lot of people still say, hello, Mr. Bond, and, like as though one has never heard it before. And because they're still making them, it'll always be there. But I did it basically for myself, you know what I mean, to get a change of job, a change of position, change of way of seeing things and doing things, especially as an actor. I just found it became very limiting.
Another thing that's interesting is going back and reading material. People assume that was more, more or less a cartoon role. But in fact, you really defined that character.
Yeah.
The Bond in the movie is not exactly the same as the Bond in the book.
No.
Was it you that came up with the nuances, or did you do it with the director?
No, it's. I think that Terence Young had more to do with than anybody. We had the same sense of humor, and so we wrote the jokes and the business end. I mean, some of the stuff obviously was Fleming. I mean, there's no question, but we shared a lot of the humor. Most of the one-liners and stuff I put in the movie.
And the looks and the expression, the attitude.
Oh yeah, well, one wanted very much to get. We both agreed that we should have somebody that could be capable of doing all the things like snapping the necks and firing the guns and smoking himself to death and all the chasing and the sex, all the stuff that goes with it, but to have a kind of counterbalance of humor, so that it never really lost itself completely in that kind of serious world of spies. But it had to believe that the guy could be dangerous, and so we played that.
I warn you now, God will judge last night's violence as a sin.
There's no future for what you joined except hell.
I want the organization. I want it smashed.
You must be one of those hardened criminals that corrupts the younger offender.
I need you to bridge some burglar alarms, open doors, cut some telephone circuits. Now, you can do that. And your piece will set you up in business for yourself.
What, so some son of a bitch can come steal me blind? They rip off everything in here.
So you claim burglary insurance?
I don't know, man. I wasn't for dope, see? I don't know how I feel about stealing. Some guys, you gotta put them right out of business, you rip off this stuff. Hold on.
If a guy's got stuff he can't afford, then he isn't smart enough to get insurance. Well, I'm just a hand of fate closing in on him. He's gonna lose it anyway.
Is it right to steal from insurance companies?
Look, when you rob a guy who's got insurance, you're doing him a favor. You give him a little excitement in his life, a story to tell. He becomes a more interesting person because you robbed him. You push the insurance company because the publicity gets people to buy insurance. You do the fuzz a favor because, well, you prove they're necessary and deserving of a big pay boost. And you do yourself a favor because you need the dough.
I called Richard Hatton, who was Sean's agent. And Richard responded positively. He said, let me talk to Sean. Came back and he said, okay, Sean's agreed, here are the conditions. 2 pictures, no approvals. He wants $1,250,000, and he doesn't want to have to talk to Harry or Cubby.
The deal made Connery the highest paid actor in the world. Hollywood was now dancing to his tune.
But now, as you say, this is your own 6th Bond film. There have, in fact, been 2 without you, if you count Casino Royale.
Yeah.
That leaves, by my reckoning, 5 Ian Fleming novels still unfilmed. Is there any chance that you'll be turning up in those too?
No, I've got other things I want to do, you know. I mean, I have no desire to have £100 million, £50 million at all. I know exactly what it is to be without money. I know exactly what money is to me. And when I know that, and I know a large percentage of myself, and I know which way I'm going.
Are you amused by the fact that at this point you and Roger are shooting Bond films simultaneously?
Yeah, I bumped into him actually. He was staying in Arlington House here in London with where our director is Kirshner, and the producer then was, and I was working with the director on the script, and one morning I came and bumped into Roger in the street, and we talked, and it was just, he'd just started. And the conversation was very brief, and he was with his son, and he said, where are you going? He said, I'm just going off to location. And I remember it was somewhere, some dreadful town just on the outskirts of London. And he said, where are you going? And I said, the south of France. He said, very nice. He said, and then where are you going? And I said, I'm going to Nassau, the Bahamas. He said, oh, yes. I said, where are you going? He said, India. And then I said, oh, well, that's nice. Well, I'll see you back in London, I suppose.
Are you surprised to find yourself back here, meaning playing James Bond?
Yes, I am in some ways. I mean, having said, you know, never again, as it were. When I was approached by Kevin McClory, he had the rights after 10 years to remake the Thunderball. It was then that all the lawyers came out of the woodwork, and the legal ramifications became far too complex. And I've had enough of these over the last few years that I chose not to proceed. And out of the blue, Jack Schwartzman approached me with a view to doing this one. And I said, well, two conditions. One is that it is totally clean and I have no more dealings with lawyers, as it were, though he happens to be a lawyer. And I have total indemnification from yourself. And he provided both of these clauses, and here we are, sitting in beautiful fire and Christmas card weather outside here in London.
But James Bond and Sean Connery are not the James Bond and Sean Connery of 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, that's for sure. But he might be a bit smarter. I'd like to think I am.
You have had to put the hairpiece back on for this film. It's not something you enjoy, I know.
No, but it's only during the working day, and which has gone into the night too frequently, I'm afraid. But, well, I've stuck it on for a few other pictures too, actually.
Is this the last James Bond you're going to do? I think that's been asked before.
Yeah, I would say almost certainly, yeah. Because, well, it's 1983 before it comes out, and I'm going to take a slow boat to China. Have for me a genuine break.
You said you wanted to know how to get Capone. Do you really want to get him? You see what I'm saying? What are you prepared to do?
Everything within the law.
And then what are you prepared to do? If you open the ball on these people, Mr. Nash, you must be prepared to go all the way. Because they won't give up the fight until one of you is dead.
I want to get Capone. I don't know how to get him.
Want to get Capone? Here's how you get him. He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
Sean Connery and the Untouchables.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, and a few enemies.
Junior? Don't call me that, please.
I didn't know you could fly a plane.
Why, yes! Land, go! I'm not on this list. I don't understand it.
What's your name?
My name is Bond.
Bond? He's Bond?
Oh.
Wait a minute, hey! Hey!
It's David Putnam.
It's David Putnam, isn't it? I thought they'd sent you back to England.
No, I used to look like Roger Moore.
You know he looks like Roger Moore with a beard.
And he looks like Sean Connery with a moustache.
He is Sean Connery with a moustache.
You want to know what I was doing 30 years ago?
No, Roger, what were you doing?
I was still trying to grow this beard.
Were you? Boom.
Shall we get on with it?
Yeah.
So what do you have in store for me, Womack, when this is over?
You'll get your life back, Mason.
But you could have given me my life back years ago. Why should I trust you now?
You've got my word.
Will you shake on it? The scripts I read at first, I read the first one, and I knew then that Rafe was playing Steed and that Uma Thurman was playing Emma Peel, and which made a major difference about whether one would do it or not. Unless these two work, no matter how good or bad your villain is, the piece doesn't work. And they're perfect and even better than I had imagined when I read it.
That was perfect.
Well, I think it's a great honor for Scotland as well.
A world war.
That notion makes you sweat?
Heavens, man. Doesn't it you?
This is Africa, dear boy. Sweating is what we do.
Where is your sense of patriotism?
God save the Queen.
God save the Queen. God bless her. God bless her.
That's about as patriotic as it gets around here.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be playing James Bond again.
May I help you? A dry martini. Shaken, not stirred.
The eye, good. The mouth is good. In fact, this looks better than the original. Oh, I'm madly in love with it. I don't think it's dated at all. To go back to the 60s, this will be something almost like starting all over again.
Getting on a bit. I had no idea that this was such a big deal. When Howard, that's Mr. Stringer, called me and said, the AFI has chosen you for this award. Well, I just had no idea. And then I was given a list of the people who'd received this fantastic honor. And I began to get a bit nervous, but not as nervous as I am at this moment. I mean it sincerely. You know, the Academy Awards is something else because you can hide. There are winners and losers and other people to blame. But the AFI, you're on your own. And, well, I'm here and I'm very happy you're here too. And I thank you for bringing my family and friends together for tonight. My family, Micheline, my beautiful wife, some of our children, you. Thank you. You are on your own life achievement. I'm more than pleased that you like my work. I have to admit that it looked pretty damn good from where I was sitting. And it brought back to me lots of terrific memories. Memories of working with people who are fun and industrious, and talented and enthusiastic. These are all the qualities that I find admirable. The rest of you, well, you know who you are. You know, making movies is either a utopia or it's like shoveling shit uphill. And tonight, I suppose we put down our shovels and remember the good times, and, well, I've had many. My start, my childhood, was less than auspicious. But when I was young, we didn't know we lacked anything because we had nothing to compare it to. And there's a freedom in that. I had a very hard-working mother and father. I think of them both a great deal. I got my break, big break, when I was 5 years old. And it's taken me more than 70 years to realize it. You see, at 5, I learned to read. It's that simple, and it's that profound. I left school at 13. I didn't have a formal education, and I believe I would not be standing here tonight without the books, the plays, the scripts. It's been a long journey from Fountain Bridge to this evening with you all. Though my feet are tired, my heart is not. A few months ago, I was in London. I was having a great lunch with my very first agent. He's older than me. Suddenly he said to me, "Sean, life is good. But isn't the third act shit?" I suppose he has a point, but not tonight. I thank you all, for my family, friends, for one hell of an evening. Good night.
It's now been 3 years since we last saw you in a movie. It's too long. When are we going to see you again on screen?
Well, you'll see me tonight on the television.
Yeah, that's great. But on screen?
Well, I really got fed up dealing, as I said, with idiots, and so I terminated after the last film.
Are there many idiots?
Well, they've kind of cornered the market in the film industry, and that's why people like George Clooney and Soderbergh and Sean Penn are trying to make movies get back to kind of realistic basis because of a price and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because over the years, particularly in Hollywood, the gap between people who know about making movies and the people who green light the movies, the gap is ever widening. So nobody in Hollywood ever wants to say that they don't know. That's a cardinal sin. So they go along until you find out that they don't know. And by then, if they're in a producing situation or a directing situation or whatever, the damage is done. Because it's in the schedule, it's in the budget.
Yeah. But will you say yes another time, one day, or it's official? And
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. There's not really. I spoke with Spielberg, but it didn't work out.
For Indiana Jones 4, you refused the role?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it was not that generous a part, worth getting back into the harness and go for. And they had taken the story in a different line anyway, so the father of Indy was kind of really not that important, and I had suggested that they kill him in the movie. It would have taken care of it better.
What could decide you to say yes a last time, another time?
What, to do another movie?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. No, not really.
It's over. No more Sean Connery.
No.
In a movie.
No.
No.
Bond's gone on now for 40 years and other actors have taken part. Why do you think its success is so enduring?
The ingredients are all there for the kind of movie that people want to see. It has very good entertaining value. For example, it's the spectrum of actors. I mean, from myself to Daniel Craig, who I thought was fantastic. Marvellous in the part.
Daniel Craig said he saw all the films, but he took an immense amount from your films. I suppose nicked is a good word.
Yeah, well, I'm flattered.
The guardian of the Highlands. A grandpa. Sir Sean Connery is Sir Billy.
My name is William. Billy to my friends.
Now, within the last hour, it's been announced that Sir Sean Connery has died aged 90. The first actor to play 007 in the James Bond films, it was a role that brought him global stardom, and it was followed by decades as one of Hollywood's leading actors.
There are places I'll remember all my life. Though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments. With lovers and friends, I still can recall. Some are dead, and some are living. In my life, I've loved them all.